Alright, gonna do a quick video here, trying out a little new setup. If you follow my blog at all, you might notice that I do really short documentary reviews. For a while, I wasn't even posting them, actually. I just figure you read a review or a description of a documentary, and you watch it, and you kind of figure you know what you're gonna get. So I stopped writing them for a while, but then I just figured uh, might as well write a short review, at least put down the rating that I had for it. So I started doing that, and I'll just do a short one for this documentary that I just watched. I actually been watching a bunch of this director's documentaries. His name's Mark Neal, and I previously watched his movie Fast, or Faster, and then he did Fastest, and then he had a third one also called Charge. They're all centered around motorcycle racing, and the first two that I mentioned, Faster and Fastest, are really good. They focus on MotoGP, which is like the Formula One racing for motorcycles. You've probably seen it. All the guys are going about 200 miles an hour, going around the track. They're leaning all the way to the side. Their knees are touching the ground. That's MotoGP. And this movie, The Doctor, the Tornado, and the Kentucky Kid, is kind of a continuation of that kind of series, I guess you could call it. It's really good. I liked it, actually. It's a little different, kind of why I wanted to do a short little review for it. The name comes from the nicknames of three of the main riders that are the focus. The Doctor is Valentino Rossi, and he's focused a lot in the documentary Faster. He's an Italian driver, and he's like a legend now. He's won the Grand Prix a bunch of times. He's like incredibly good. He's the Doctor, and then the Tornado and the Kentucky Kid are two Americans that are kind of competing to beat him. And this documentary is unique and interesting because it actually just focuses on one race, where the other two documentaries actually cover a season or 2 seasons. So a year or two kind of follows the whole season and how it progresses. This movie just follows one single race, and it's unique because it was the first time that there's ever a MotoGP race in the United States. And it's held in California at a place called Laguna Seca. And the racetrack had been there for quite a while for automotive racing, but they just had recently expanded it, I think, and made it longer so that they could do MotoGP racing there. So this is the first year that anybody has raced there for MotoGP. It's unique because actually the Americans, Nicky Hayden and Colin Edwards, those are the real names of the guys. The Kentucky Kid is Nicky Hayden, and the Tornado is Colin Edwards. They have an advantage over Valentino Rossi because they've actually raced at this track in previous classes. So before they were in MotoGP, they were in a lower class where the bikes aren't as fast, and they raced at Laguna Seca. So they have this little advantage going into the race, and it follows that. They talk about the track. That's really interesting. Also, because most or the majority of the MotoGP tracks are flat, relatively flat, and there's a lot of straightaways, so you can get up to that, over 200 mile an hour's speeds when you're racing. But at Laguna Seca, it's different. It's very, very curvy. There's a lot of turns. There's a really steep corner called the Corkscrew, and it's also not flat. It's really hilly. The way it's built around a lake, actually, so it goes around this lake. So there's a lot of ups and downs and curves, which is also pretty different for the majority of the MotoGP tracks. So that to compete with, and the unfamiliarity with the track in general. So it kind of gives these two Americans pretty good advantages going into the race. That's what it's focused on. And I really like the documentary as well because it just focuses on one race. With a lot of cameras on the riders themselves and their motorcycles, and then they're commenting and talking about the race as it goes, so you can hear from all three of the guys and maybe some of like the pit crew and everybody talking as well, and it just goes through the whole race. So it was really cool to see that as opposed to snippets of races through a season. It just did the whole race. It was really cool. I've been really getting into these motorcycle documentaries. I actually just watched another one. It wasn't just a movie; it was a series with Ewan McGregor is the narrator for a lot of this director's documentaries. This Mark Neal, he has narrated this and the other three actually, Faster, Fastest, and Charge. He narrated all those. Ewan McGregor's a big motorcycle enthusiast, and I watched on Netflix. There's kind of a series called Around the World, or the Long Way Round. Excuse me. Anyways, that's kind of irrelevant. But yeah, I really like this. It's unique. It's different from the other documentaries. A different way to see the MotoGP following the single race, and you learn a lot about it. So this is gonna be a shorter review. Probably won't do really long documentary reviews. So I just want to do that quick, and yeah, hopefully I'll be recording another review for a different movie later. Okay, so just remember, if you're riding a motorcycle, wear your helmet.